Hello guys, today we are inside a camera store and we're going to shoot a little commercial. In addition, I'm going to try to share my best advice when filming inside a store. So stay tuned for a fun day. If you're working with films and videos, you might get clients that want you to film inside their store. And there are many ways to go with this. You can either just shoot nice B-roll with your gimbal, or you can have an interview and cut that in with the B-roll, or you can do something creative like having people dance through the store, or maybe you have a comedy sketch about the store. There are many ways to go with this. It's all about the pre-production, talking with the client, what do they want to achieve with the videos, what's their target group, and so on. Right now we're at Scandinavian Photo. They just opened a new store in the center of Oslo. It's a camera store with a lot of equipment. They actually have 2 studios here and also a sound room and also a cafe inside the store. It's very cool. You can test out how it is to be a vlogger. Are we vloggers? No. Filmmakers. Let's try to be a bit creative and shoot something creative in this store, because I'm a little bit tired of all those, gimbal shots like Matthias is doing now inside a store. What can we do to do something new, something fresh in this store to make it look good, and also still tell the story that it's a big store. We have a lot of equipment, so technology meets people. How can we mix that in a creative video?
First, we needed a concept. Since the store is quite big with a lot of sections and equipment, we wanted to record that. But how can we do it in an interesting way? We quickly thought about using a zoom lens to transport the audience through the store in a seamless and interesting way. So we went for location scouting and figured out where the different scenes could be in the store. In addition, we looked at what kind of gear we needed to make the effect as interesting as possible. Even though the store has all types of lenses from affordable to expensive, we ended up borrowing the quite affordable Tamron 28-200mm, as it has a nice zoom range to create the effect we wanted, in addition to having a smooth zoom ring and autofocus.
Okay, so when you have the idea for the video, for the store, how do you shoot it so it looks good?
Here comes my top 3 most important tips that you can use for any kind of shoot inside a store. For any shoot, you always need decent lighting. You need enough light, maybe soft light, the right color temperature, and so on. But you can't always control all the lights in your scene.
For instance, here we have a lot of spotlights. This is typical in stores. You have spotlights around the whole store, so you can spot on different products. We don't have any windows here, so we can't use the soft window lights. We only have spotlights. You could ask to turn off the spotlights and bring your own lamps, of course, but sometimes you can't turn them off. Like here, we should have them on. So we're going to use the spotlights for our benefits. We're going to use it as a backlight. We're going to use it to soften it a little bit sometimes. We're going to adjust them so it makes the best possible shot for us. I think it's going to work.
What you don't want to end up with is harsh shadows in the talent's face and strange colors. So let's see how we can avoid this.
If you just know why soft light is soft, you can modify the lamps you have and make it soft. But we can just move the light and bounce it into the wall. Like this. If you have a white wall like this, you can bounce it in. Then the light source becomes bigger, right? And then you can get a softer light on your face. Maybe I could use this here, and then I can probably adjust this one as a backlight, like this. So then I can get some soft light from here, and then backlight from here.
As you can see, my face is much more even and soft and doesn't have very harsh shadows. So for our shoot, sometimes we use the diffusion paper to soften the light. You can also use normal baking paper if you have. Just make sure you don't burn the paper. So the baking paper or the diffusion paper is nice to make the light a little bit softer. You can also hang up, white bed sheets and everything. Just be creative, and as long as you can make the light source bigger, you will create softer lights. Very often what you see in real life is not how it looks in camera. So make sure the camera is set up quite early on the shoot, so everyone can look at the image and adjust the lights accordingly.
Ser det bedre ut, eller?
So I do recommend you to just figure out how things work, so when you don't have full control over the lights, you at least know some certain things you can do to make it look better.
I would prefer finding some windows, for instance when shooting an interview, but like here today we don't have any windows, so then we have to modify the light with the spots or bring our own lights with softbox.
This is a man's world.
We were going to move a lot around in the store during this day, so we ended up bringing a couple of nanolight lamps just to help us shoot faster. So both lamps had a softbox on it, so we could easily even out the shots where we had too much harsh shadow. Then comes the white balance.
Different lamps will give different color temperature. Just make sure we have kind of the same color temperature in this store.
The lighting and the color temperature depends on the mood you want. But if you are unsure what kind of color temperature or white balance you're going to have in your camera, just look at the skin tone of the people you're filming. If you have some daylight coming in and maybe some warmer lamps as well, what kind of light is hitting the person's skin the most? What is the key light? I would recommend you to change the white balance in the camera to that color temperature. If the skin color looks too artificial, it might make the audience react to it. So look at that first. If you are mixing color temperatures, I would recommend you to maybe have the cold light coming from behind and then the warm light hitting the person's face. Try to avoid them coming from the same direction. We wanted this commercial to look a bit clean. So we decided to shoot with a little bit colder white balance in the camera to make the white become a bit blue, and then use our nanlight lamps to create a bit warmer light on their face. This creates a clean yet nice color contrast between the store and the characters. We also made sure the talents had clothes that could give a warm contrast to the more cold environment. Working with color temperature and white balance on set is especially important if you're shooting with a phone or cameras that doesn't have high bit rates. We were shooting with the Sony FX3 in 10-bit, where the codec and the quality is so good that it's easier to save the footage in post and color grade. So the third step, bring focus on the important things. So what you're filming is what the audience sees. How does the store want to express themselves through the visuals? Is it going to be clean, messy, stylistic, organic? What kind of colors do the brand have? How do they want to express their visual style? It's quite hard to remove things in post. So in the store, take a good look around you and figure out what is distracting or doesn't fit the story or message.
Quite often, the people who runs the store allows you to move the stuff around. And sometimes that's necessary because some things doesn't look that good in frame. For instance, if you see over here, we have an orange backpack. Maybe we should remove that one for the shot so it doesn't take too much attention. We need to know what should the audience focus on. For instance, in this direction, you see there's a lot of colors and you see there's a spotlight hitting those colors. So maybe go down there and just move the spotlight so it doesn't light up that much, because you want to focus on the most important. And today, that's the people. We're going to look at the equipment and of course the equipment itself. And that's also why it's so nice to have shallow depth of field. Because when you get the shallow depth of field, you can also remove all the things in the background and make it blurry if you want to. I would recommend full frame and a wide open aperture in the shoot in the store. So in addition to the spots that we are turning around to make it as good as possible, we're also moving things away, like thinking about the set design. And very often the people who are working here are really helpful. They wanted to make it look good as well, so they will help out.
Of course, if you're overthinking and looking too much around, you will end up removing everything. So make sure you don't use too much time on this, and it's good to be two people discussing it. You can also maybe change the camera angle a bit, or maybe zoom in a bit. Even though you see something on set, it might not be a part of the frame.
Kim, maybe you can be an extra in the sound studio.
Now we are ready to shoot.
Ok, kamera går. Henger litt der. Og vær så god.
Ja, takk. Strålende.
Jeg er kjempebra. Synes det er kult ut.
Gris.
Ja. Get away from...
Vær så god. Konge, bra. Kjempefint. Bra, Mathias.
Ja.
3, 2, 1, vær så god.
Den var jo helt perfekt, spør du meg.
Every project is different. Here are some other tips based on the concept we had. We had actors that we're going to film. It's very important to make them comfortable. If they are uncomfortable in front of the camera or act out in weird ways, the audience will really notice.
Vær så god.
So make sure they know what to do, make them excited, and give them good directions.
Takk. Fint.
We didn't have any interviews or dialogue in this video, so for us, sound wasn't that important. But if you're doing sound or interviewing someone, remember to do the interview in a place where it's silence. Very often people say, have a lot of shots, have wide angles, moving shots, close-ups. The more shots you have, the more exciting the video is. That's not the case. The most important is that you have an engaging story. I really recommend you as a challenge to shoot something with just one shot, make it 1 minute long, but make what's happening in front of the camera interesting. Instead of cutting between shots just to cut, try to make one long shot. I think that's a good challenge to really make sure that you focus on what's happening in front of the camera and not that every cut is what makes the video interesting. So for our video, for instance, we want to try to focus on what the character was doing, going from one location to another in a seamless way, that what they were doing, and assume that was our story, the journey through the store. And here is the final result.
Test. Est-ce que c'est une planche oui? Test. 2, 1, 2.
That was it for this video. I hope you learned something and found the tips useful. If you missed it, we just built a sci-fi street in our studio and used virtual production. It was our most ambitious YouTube project, so check it out. I'm gonna add links in the video. You'll see it pops up now and also in the description. And we have a lot of videos coming this month, so subscribe to see that, and I see you again. Ha det bra!